Hello there, guys, and welcome back to me moving around my camera just as I go live. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another player ratings live stream and live reaction following a Chelsea win. Feels weird. Doesn't feel like we played like a win, but hey, 3-2 against Leeds United in the in the round of 16 of the FA Cup. Now qualified for the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, where we've already been drawn against Leicester City at home. So another championship opponent again at home. So really, that should mean we should be playing at Wembley again, because obviously the semi-finals are played at Wembley. But then you look at the game like today and you realize, in particular in the second half, we were dominated by essentially, well, let's not call it Leeds B team, but Leeds with a lot of rotation. And that is just shocking. Obviously, they brought on a lot of their big guns towards the end, but oh my days. What are we doing? What are we doing, man? Disasi's howler for the first goal. I thought, oh my days, here we go again. I was already like, maybe Disasi just is also poach out. Maybe that would explain something. But, you know, then after that, he seemed to have sorted himself out a little bit. Then, to be fair, get back into it. Nice goal by Jackson. Nice team goal. Nice goal by Mudryk. Also good. We go into halftime 2-1. And then we come out of halftime and we look like the worst team in the world. Like, there was a point in the second half, I don't know what it was by the end, but there was a point in the second half where my commentator said we had 37% possession and 0 shots in the second half. And we were at least 20, 25 minutes into the second half by that point. It's unbelievable. It's genuinely unbelievable. At the end, thankfully, Conor Gallagher saved us, because Leeds could have won it as well, but certainly could have taken it to extra time at least. But hey, Conor Gallagher, once again, the saviour. It's just a bit unfortunate that he wins us the game against Palace. He wins us the game against Leeds, but in the cup final, he misses 3 shots. What is this timing, man? What is this timing? Dimitar, thank you for joining me once again. I appreciate you very, very much. Where do it even start? You just said to me off air before we went live, it was another roller coaster, and boy, it was. But how are the feelings after a win like that? Because obviously we always want to win. We want to progress in the FA Cup. It's obviously there is a chance we get into some sort of European competition through the league, but you could argue the FA Cup is an easier route. Then again, when was the last time we won a final at Wembley? So I'm not sure how much easier it really is. But we didn't play well, did we? At the same time, we won. So what's the overriding feelings, man?
Well, I told you in our chat today that if the team stays behind the manager, we will probably win. And I think that's what we saw. We made a very unfortunate mistake in the beginning, and then the team really stepped up. And I think for the entire first half, we looked good. I mean, not perfect, but we were okay. We're moving the ball quickly, I think. We created dangerous chances. And I really liked the 2 goal-scoring attacks. I really liked that, because it was fast, intricate play. And we saw our strikers actually finishing at good created chances. And I love to see that. And then, as you said, the second half, it was a completely different team. It's like we thought we won the game for some reason, or that we had done enough to progress without playing. And then in the second half, the first 20-25 minutes, we really didn't have a shot on target, and we just invited Leeds to come back into the game. And that really annoyed me, I have to be honest. Maybe up until the 60th minute, I was okay with the performance, but then I really didn't like the last 30. And I thought the substitutions did not get the effect we wanted them, apart from the last minute thing that Gallagher did, but that was also mainly due to Enzo. So Gallagher, phenomenal finish, phenomenal ball control, a bit of luck, but Enzo basically made that goal. I don't know. It's mixed feelings for me, if I have to be honest, but at least we go through. So
absolutely. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if I agree with you. The first half was good. I don't think it was as bad as the second half, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it was good, because we scored 2 very nice goals. Those 2 individual moments, they were good. Absolutely. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. But other than those 2 moments, did we have even a single other real chance? I guess the Mudryk one, where he shot instead of squaring it for an easy tap-in for Jackson. But otherwise, we had like 3 chances against the lower league opposition, right, at home.
Well, I mean, again, by good, I mean that, yeah, by good, I meant the team. I think the team tried, and they saw that they really have to step up their game, because in the first 10 minutes and after that mistake for a couple of minutes, it looked very bad, at least for me. But they calmed their head down, and they went to attack, and they went to attack with intent. which is something that not always happens with us, because, like the first Middlesbrough game in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, we just recycle the ball, and we don't know what to do with it. But today, and I think between the 15th and the 45th minute, it kind of looked like we wanted to attack. And that's what I want to see. Of course, it could always be better, and of course, it was against the Championship side, but at least Caicedo was passing forward with his passes, and at least Sterling was looking for spaces, and that's how basically the second goal happened, because he found a very nice space, and he instantly passed to Mudryk. And in a lot of games, that doesn't happen, even when it's 0-0 or even when we are leading. So that's what I kind of liked, but I agree with you. In general, it was not a household performance.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'll be honest, until just now, I actually thought Gusto got the assist for Mudryk's goal. So thanks for that. Turns out it's Raheem Sterling. So Raheem Sterling did actually do something good tonight. Who knew? Nah, I'm joking. It's a weird one, because let me get the lineup up on screen, and we will get into Poch's comments a little bit later. Let's get into the lineup. I think I got it right on screen. Oh, no, it wasn't Gusto at right back in the end, left back in the end. We all thought it would be. Turns out we played Gilchrist at left back instead.
The formation was absolutely crazy. I think we changed maybe 3 or 4 times during the game, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I thought I saw Coble on the pitch. I was like, okay. Chalobah came off. Makes sense. First start in God knows how long. Turns out Chalobah's all of a sudden right back. That's mental. But yeah, this was the team. A few players rested, the likes of Conor Gallagher, Cole Palmer, Ben Chilwell, also Levi Colwell, but still a lot of players that didn't get a rest. Number one being, in my opinion, Malo Gusto. You could see by the fact that we weren't doing great, and still he took him off. That shows you that he clearly wasn't ready to play much more. Enzo and Caicedo both had to play again. I'm not sure who the Finnish guy at the end came on for. I need to practice saying his name right before I start spewing it out.
He came on for Mudryk. For Mudryk.
It was actually Mudryk. So Enzo and Caicedo playing the full game again. And then we had a 3 behind the striker of 3 wingers, with Mudryk playing as the number 10. And somehow, I kind of liked it. Like, you'd think, Mudryk on the you need to put him on a wing, because he's one of the fastest players in the whole world. So you need to put him on a wing so he can actually use that pace. But turns out when he's in the middle, he gets the ball more. It turns out when he gets the ball more, he's a lot more confident. And you can actually see that he can pass, that he can run, that he can finish. And he should have had a second goal if Raheem Sterling wasn't a complete imbecile. And he was completely alone in front of goal, and he just didn't cross it. Why not? I don't understand. And 20 seconds later, we conceded 2-2. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe it. But Dimitar, what did you make of the team? Let's start at the back. Sanchez coming back in. I think fair that he comes in for the cup game. The question is what happens now on Saturday.
I think even though he was not directly at fault, maybe the pass to Disasi for the first goal, I did not like that a lot. So I would put Petrovic back in and maybe wait. If I was Poch, I would say to Sanchez, look, Petrovic has had a good run of games. I will play you next to the Leicester game. So let's see what Petrovic does. And if Petrovic makes a mistake or something like that happens, maybe then Sanchez can get right back in. But I would say that Petrovic should continue to play for the next 2-3 games, at least, because I think we all want to see him perform a little bit more to know what he's made of. And I think he's kind of deserved his place, in my opinion, because I think he also tweeted, if we had miraculously won the Carabao Cup final, Petrovic was the man of the match for sure. And I also thought the same, basically. So, yeah.
Without a doubt, no, I completely agree, and I would do it the same as well. We will get into Sanchez's rating later on, but to me, he still looks just as much a liability as he did before he got injured, I'll be honest. Every time he passes the ball, it feels like he's going to pass it straight to the opponent. Maybe I'm slightly being unfair on him, because that's kind of the vibe he's given me the last multiple games he's played, and now he's come back in and it's kind of similar. But it just feels like a liability. Again, maybe I am with Sanchez, like so many other people were with Kepa. Maybe I am not always fair. Could well be. But Petrovic, to me, is miles clear. Absolutely miles clear. What about the back four, though? Especially, I assume you also thought when you saw Gilchrist and Gusto that Gusto would be the left back and Gilchrist the right back? Or did you already see it coming like this? Because Gilchrist is a centre back. He's played right back multiple times, and now all of a sudden he's left back.
I watched a Bulgarian stream for this, and in that thing, we were playing a 3-5-3. So, and I think we also did that for a couple of minutes in the beginning of the second half, where Malo Gusto was right wing back, we had a back three, and then this was basically what the people at my stream showed. And I was sure it's not exactly correct because Mudryk was playing at the center of the pitch most of the time.
Yes, it was a bit.
But,
it was kind of like
those. It was kind of like that with Sterling, always starting maybe 20 feet further than what Malo Gusto would start. And I think that was kind of interesting because basically both our goals came because we always had an extra person to take the extra pass which we create in attack, which usually doesn't happen. And this time I think that the opposition were kind of confused with this strange thing. And it's Leeds and they're a championship side, so it works. But yeah, for parts of the game it was like that. For parts of the game it was like you showed it before. So we were fluent, which is interesting. The thing is, I think this also contributed to our instability, especially for the second goal, because it came after a touch they had. And they had a touch on the left side of the pitch. They quickly transitioned to the other side and just made a free cross and scored a goal. And that should not happen, I believe, if you're Chelsea playing against Leeds. I mean, if that happens to a Sean Dyche team, he will be furious because this is like basic defending. The ball is crossed from left to right, and you have to reposition yourself. I mean, this is literally basic defense, and we did not.
I mean, I'm not sure how you see it. You said it there. We sometimes play like this, sometimes like that. To me, it's like on the ball, we were essentially doing this.
Yeah.
And then off the ball, Gusto came back, Gilchrist shifted over to essentially a left back. To be honest, not far off kind of the system that, well, first of all, we played a few times quite many times when Koba was the left back, but Koba just interpreted way more like a left back than Gilchrist did. But essentially, the system that we played in preseason when we were still decent, when like Nkunku was kind of like this weird wannabe left mid, and then, you know, obviously in preseason it was shifted the other way around. Ben Chilwell was on the left and he was the attacking side. While James stayed back on and then formed a centre back three. But essentially that was the principle of it. But yeah, in the beginning of the game, Gilchrist had a few struggles. Passed it back to Sanchez a bit, like underhit it. Then he got pushed out the way by Dan James, which nearly led to a goal. And then from that resulting goal kick, we actually concede.
That was a bit comical.
Up against Daniel James, one of the fastest players. You know, it's not going to be ideal. Sure, you can say, oh, if only you play Gusto left back, then those situations wouldn't have happened. But how much attacking threat would we have lost if Gusto wasn't on the right? So, you know, because I still think as much as Gusto had that one decent game at left back, he's still a right back. So why would I put him on the wrong side? Like, it's just not going to be ideal for him. He's not going to have the attacking impetus. He's not going to know the movements. He's not going to know the angles. Just leave players in the right position. So that's why I didn't even hate it that much, as obviously Gilchrist has never played left back before, as far as I know. I still prefer only one player being out of position than two.
For sure.
So otherwise, good to see Chalobah starting for the first time in God knows how long. Not that he was great, but you know, still good to see him play again, I suppose. But the whole Enzo and Caicedo midfield, honestly, is just how on earth? Like, we spent so much money. How can we not have any midfielders that we can't give them a rest? Like, these poor guys, they have to play every game all the time.
The thing is, we wanted to sell Gallagher and we didn't sell him at the end of the summer because both Chukwuemeka and Lavia were injured. So if one of them managed to stay fit for 10 days longer in that period, we would have even less players now. Which is which people should never forget. That basically the club wanted to kick Gallagher out and he stayed, and he's probably our second best player this season, in my opinion. Or at least second most consistent in terms of giving it everything on the pitch. Because
I don't even think it's up for debate, to be honest. Like, maybe you could make an argument for Malo Gusto, I suppose, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, I would put Gallagher second. The one thing I'll say is on the other side, and he was kind of better than both of our midfielders until Enzo had that last decisive moment. Ethan Ampadu, we sold him for a whole 8 million. So 8 million of pure profit. Flipping amazing. He would be a great backup to him. Can fill in a centre back where we have all the injuries as well. But no, Billy Gilmore and Ethan Ampadu, we got a whole £17 million for. And
also Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, exactly. And Loftus-Cheek, I hadn't even mentioned him. But just even like Ruben is at least older, right? Ampadu and Gilmore actually still fit the whole narrative that these owners want, right? Of everyone needs to be young and everything else, right? So are they better than Enzo and Caicedo? No, of course they're not. But are they 203 million worse they're definitely not 203 million pounds worse. That's for
I mean, are they better than Enzo and Caicedo? The thing is, if Ampadu and Billy Gilmore go and play for Man City, I think they're gonna look a lot better than Caicedo. If they play for this Chelsea team, they're gonna look probably worse than Caicedo. But I think it's very hard to judge them against Caicedo on the basis of the thing this season. But yeah, it's a madness selling them for pennies, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely. No other narratives from pure profit. No, absolutely. But then when you sell them for something like 8 million, is that fucking worth anything? Do you know what I mean? Man, it's a joke. Yes, we will discuss the post-match interview. You know what? Why don't I just open it now before we start the ratings, because we've kind of given our thoughts on the lineup. So I'll have it. I'm not. If there's more quotes than I've seen here, please tell me, and I'll get them up as well. But Pies tweeted 2 of them from Pochettino. He tells ITV, in the last 4 weeks, we have done a fantastic job. And he also said, we cannot match the history of Chelsea. We need time to gel. This is not a magic cream. I'm a bit like you, Dimitar. When it comes to these kind of quotes, I'm like, I don't really understand why everyone's so mad at it. Look at the team. Of course, they can't actually match the history of Chelsea. We've seen that for the last year. You know, obviously they can't. It's so obvious. And obviously they need time to gel. The problem is they don't need time to gel with you, Pochettino. They need time to gel with somebody else. But in general, he's not wrong when he says this. Like, obviously he's right. Did we do a fantastic job? No. That's why he's taking the piss a little bit. Come on now. Like, you need to have higher expectations than the second half today, the first half at Palace, the extra time at Liverpool. You can't sit against Liverpool. The whole game at Liverpool, by the way, I forget about that. How absolutely embarrassing we were on that day. But that's where just like, how can you? I know you're maybe trying to build up your players and everything, but just tell them privately. You don't need to, like, how far off the mark? How badly does he read the thing is, not know that the fans take the piss out of his post-match comments every week? Like, surely he should start to realize that.
I think just everyone does the same thing now, because Mourinho used to do that like 15 years ago. And then Klopp and Pep basically started doing the same, where, for example, Man City lose 1-0 to Burnley, and then Pep will say, oh, this was the best football match I've seen in my entire life, and just go off into the distance after the interview. I mean,
bro, it's different when you're 10th.
I know, but the thing that this is it. I think players know that absolutely 95% of what the coach says in these interviews is just like, it's, I don't know if I can swear, but you know what I mean. It's not important, and that's the thing, that this is kind of a bit the problem when these media and the studios that run the football stuff, they pressure managers into giving these constant interviews, constant press conferences. I mean, I enjoy to have Pochettino tell us a bit of stuff before the game, but does he need to talk for 30 minutes before every game when we play every 3 or 4 days? I think not. But the thing is that he has to. And there will always be quotes that get either misquoted or blown out of proportion. Because, like, if I have to speak in front of the media, the British media, I might add, every week for 30 minutes, I will also say some dumb things. I mean, it's inevitable. So
okay, I hear that excuse, but not even excuse, explanation.
Yeah.
The thing is, the quotes you've seen now, they're not even from the press conference. They're from the ITV TV interview straight after the game.
Yeah, exactly. He has to give another press conference after that, where he has to say different things. And then tomorrow they're gonna. Tomorrow comes the press conference for the weekend game, and I can say another thing. And I mean, it's insane. Like,
I don't even disagree with that, but at the same time, it's like, just say no comment. You know, Pep sometimes says no comment. Do you know what I mean? Or take the piss out of journalists. Say how much better it is to be a manager than it is to be a journalist. Do you know what I mean? Just say some random shit rather than we've been fantastic for the last 4 weeks when we're fucking 10th. Oh man, but hey, it is funny. DHL says, I watched his post-match interview on ITV4 and he went on a run. They had to cut him off because he was talking so much. And you probably didn't understand half of what he was saying. That is the next annoying thing for me. Anyways, shall we just start with the goalkeeper? I suppose so. Dimitar, because I might be a bit too harsh, unfairly harsh on Sanchez, I'll let you go first. What would you give Sanchez today? Obviously, for the second goal, he looked bad, but do you think he can actually do anything about it?
Let me think about it for a second. The cross, he can never collect the cross.
No,
he can also never anticipate it. I don't know.
arms next to him. The ball is like 2 meters next to him. I agree. He probably can't save it, but why? I don't know. Like, it looked like he forgot he's a goalkeeper.
The thing is, for the second goal, I probably say it's like 0.1% his fault because we missed the runner. And it was a situation where I think maybe Gilchrist missed his runner or someone else, and then Chalobah was left covering for 2 players. And this always results in a goal when the cross is good. And the cross was very good, actually. So
yeah.
I think for the first goal, I think maybe he should have just hoofed the ball, because the Leeds team was starting a bit of an aggressive press, and if you have watched even a bit, they actually tried to press. So maybe this was a lack of maybe team preparation, or he did not have it in his head that Leeds like to press. So let me just hoof it up a bit and see what happens, because for me, the first mistake was his pass to Disasi, and then we get into all sorts of trouble when Disasi just loses his head for a second, which is also inexplicable. But I don't know, maybe a 5.5 for me, because at the end he made, I think, 1 save, which impressed me a little bit, but he didn't have a lot to do anyway. I mean, they had maybe 3 or 4 dangerous shots, and they scored 2 of them. So
absolutely, and
I'll give him a 5.5.
5.5. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give my rating. Honestly, I want to give him a 4, but I say 4.5, so it leaves us at a 5.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Purely because of how much of a liability he feels to be. Not that he did enough bads to actually warrant a 4, but he just terrifies me. And Petrovic for the last 3 months has terrified me once. So
the thing is that we bought the goalkeeper that was Brighton's second goalkeeper last year. Yeah, so a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what we can expect, but certainly I think he can be better. And I think he has a little bit more quality than he shows us, but at some point you have to start showing a little bit more quality consistently. Because as it looks now, he cannot be the Chelsea starting goalkeeper next season, in my opinion. No, I don't know if Petrovic should be.
I'm not sure what you think about it, but I am fully of the belief that we will fail to get Kepa to go anywhere in the summer. Because Madrid have decided they don't want him permanently. He has only 1 year left on his contract. So who will want to pay for him? Right?
I mean, the thing is, if you ask me, bring back Kepa. Give him a chance. See, I actually liked him.
I would sell Sanchez, make Petrovic a number 1, and have Kepa on the bench for a season, and then Kepa's contract is done anyway.
I mean, this is all, but I mean, just bring him back for preseason. Let Poch see him. He's Spanish.
Bro, you don't actually think Poch will be here by preseason, do you?
I mean,
even if he lasts until the end of the season, there's no way.
Let the coach who will be here next year see Kepa, talk to him, see how he plays, because I really think Kepa got done by an agenda which I could not understand. And maybe it happened because he did not want to come off in that final. Maybe it's because of that. But I think he did fine in his first season. He made 13 or 14 clean sheets. And then he had 1 bad season where he had 60% save ratio, where literally every shot we considered went in, which was insane. And then people just thought he's a bad goalkeeper. I think he's a keeper which can get you a top 4. No, a title maybe not, but he's good enough to get in a top 4. I mean,
no, I do agree, but that is true. What Santiago says, he was with us for this preseason. Obviously, he was supposed to be the number 1 going into the season, and then left shortly before the end of the transfer window. And
this is actually true. Yeah. This is true.
But Poch wanted to keep Kepa. It's just that the club were like, Real Madrid want him. Okay, send him there. Turns out that they forgot Kepa isn't that good, and Real Madrid will obviously not want him again because they're just getting him because Courtois did his ACL.
Well, actually, as far as I saw, he did okay, but he also got injured as well.
Yeah, he had a small injury, but then he lost his place to Lunin, and then even though he's fit, Ancelotti just started playing Lunin. Remember a few weeks ago, I think it was in the Spanish Super Cup, they played in like Saudi Arabia. He scored one of the most hilarious own goals you'll ever see. He tried to catch it, dropped it, and then fell back and kind of kicked it over himself. Or was he really going to touch it? It was a bit unsure. But hey, who cares? Just quickly, I wanted to, and this is not to disagree with you. Dimitar is just a tweet I saw during the game of Jody Morris. Yes, the actual Jody Morris. his take on that first goal that we conceded, because we'll get to Disasi now. It's not a case of arrogance or silly for not playing out from the back, or silly for playing out from the back, or it should go long at all. It's purely that Disasi takes too long to play to Caicedo. It was actually very easy to bypass the press if he just played Caicedo quicker. Simple. Now,
oh no, I mean, that is for sure the truth. I just think Leeds had 4 or 3 players ready to press, so maybe the goalkeeper can take a situation and just spoof it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I think, I mean, on the one hand, this is probably a good thing about Sanchez, because it's not necessarily like Alisson's, Ederson, these types of goalies, they do take risks, and that often does help their teams bypass presses and then have a lot more space to attack. And I guess that's probably what Sanchez is thinking, and that's why he plays risky passes as often as he does. The problem is, if you play risky passes, you need to have a better success rate than Sanchez does. Now, obviously, in this case, he got his pass to Disasi off, and Disasi took a second too long. But yeah, not ideal. I mean, the worst start possible. I will say, I was actually a little bit impressed and surprised that we did fight our way back into the game as the way we did.
Me as well.
Specifically, and Disasi specifically, I mean, he was okay, I guess, outside of that mistake, but that mistake was poor.
Oh no, that mistake was awful. I mean,
yeah. I mean, Dimitar, what would you give Disasi? It's a bit weird. I don't even remember much of him.
The thing is, around the 60th minute, I was already thinking, what ratings should I give?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I'm gonna give all the defenders a 6 because we considered a dumb goal and it's fine. And then we considered another dumb goal, and I said, okay, a 5. And then Leeds almost scored the same goal twice around the 80th minute. And I was like, okay, they're going down in my rating by the minute, because I think the whole cohesion of the backline was not great. And of course, we had 2 new players who, this back 4 basically met each other on the training field yesterday. So there was no way they can have a good understanding of each other. I know, but they all played bad in my opinion. But Disasi with that mistake, because he's supposed to be the leader basically, because he's the oldest one apart from Thiago Silva. He's 25 or 26, I think.
Yeah.
And considering everyone else, and he also has the most experience, I think, around 200 League One games in France. So that mistake, I don't know. I would maybe give him a 4.5, because as much as I like him, he's a passion merchant. He should be the leader. He should not be making that mistake.
No, I agree. And especially when you see how good he was at City. He was even, in my opinion, good at Liverpool in the grand scheme of things. Or, sorry, against Liverpool in the cup final. But that you can't make mistakes like that, especially with the whole situation that the club is in. Making a mistake like that in, what minute was it? The 15th minute? Oh, no, the 8th minute of the game? Nah, man.
Yeah, no, I mean... And also, the thing is, in that situation, I think also Caicedo took the right decision. Caicedo made himself free for the pass. And just like what Jody Morris said, it was a simple tap, like, just pass it, bro. And he took 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds too long, and Leeds were on him like sharks. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And by then, he just shouldn't have passed anymore. Like, by then, just punt it. Do you know what I mean? Don't still play it to Caicedo, the poor guy. But yeah, I'll actually go along with your 4.5. Trevor Chalobah, first start all season, first start since that preseason game in which he picked up that miraculous, mysterious hamstring injury that somehow kept him out for 7.5 months. Never heard of a hamstring injury keeping anyone out for that long, but sure. I don't know. Like, he tried a lot. I will say that he apparently had a 98% passing accuracy, which is pretty good. Completed the most passes as well. Obviously, like we touched on earlier, because we kind of built in a centre back 3. He was obviously the central one, so he would have most touches and most passes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he tried to run forward a couple of times, then lost the ball a bit unnecessarily. Got a yellow card for a bit of a reckless challenge. You touched on it there on the second goal. I agree with you. It's mostly Gilchrist that lost this man. But I do still think that Chalobah kind of misjudged the ball in terms of when he should jump or what he should try to do.
The thing is, I think, sorry for interrupting actually, but the thing is, I think he looked a little bit behind him and in front of him, and he just did not know where to commit. So he was literally between the 2 players.
Exactly.
So I think he was in a very bad place. So
he misjudged the ball, right? Because if he realizes the ball will go behind him, he knows the guy in front of me is irrelevant now. Do you know what I mean?
Theoretically, yes, but even if the ball goes behind you, if the other person just dinks it to the floor with his head, the other person can score it. So I mean, I think he was left in a lose-lose situation.
Close to someone. If he's stuck between both, he's not going to stop anything.
Yeah, I mean, I know. But still, I think also, like I said earlier, the whole team, the team just did not shift correctly. They were just like standing in place, watching Leeds move the ball, and Leeds just made a very nice cross and scored a very nice goal. So, and we did nothing. We just watched them. It was like a training scenario a little bit.
100%. See, I would give him a 5.5. Maybe if he played all season, I would give him 5 for the same performance, and I'm giving him a 0.5 extra as a bit of leeway because it's the first start all season. But I will say 5.5. What would you give him? Would you maybe even give him a 6, or do you think just below?
No. I think none of our defenders deserves above 5.5, to be honest. And I think I would have given him a 5. But let's say you are right; it's his first start, so I'm gonna say 5.5. So we just move on, I think. But for sure, he has to improve, and I hope he gets some game time because I don't know really what happened, but it's a shame that another academy product is looking like he's gonna go to the exit. And yeah.
I agree. And the way he's being treated, I mean, again, we don't know what really happened with his injury, but for a while I thought maybe he's not even injured, but it's a bit like Malang Sarr where, we want to sell him and just, aren't using him. But then all of a sudden he is being used now. And
the thing is, if I have to read the situation, looking at what's happening to other players, maybe the club tried to pressure him to go on loan with some sort of obligations or sell him. And he said, maybe, nah, bro, I want to stay. And I think it may have been something like that. And then maybe Poch said, listen, guys, we don't have players. Everyone's injured. We can't afford to have a fit player just sulking anywhere. So maybe they mended some fences. And Poch said, listen, I'm going to give you a chance. Just play for me. Because I think also you said that he tried to pass forward. He had a lot of passes and he was involved in the play. So yeah. I got the feeling he wanted to play with the rest of the team and he gave it his all. And I like that.
I don't ever doubt that Chalobah wants to play for Chelsea, personally. Maybe that's me being naive a bit and thinking every academy player loves Chelsea. But I'll be honest, when I look at his passing, he looks like a better passer than everyone but Colwell. Because the pace on his, I'm not saying I know 98% passing accuracy, but that's not even why I'm saying this. The pace on his passes just looked significantly harder than any other pass all our other centre-backs played all season. I don't know, maybe that was just him coming back and not being ruined by the rest of the team yet, but he looked to have more pace on his passes, which I think is one of our issues sometimes. Not only do we move
I think you're right.
Passing quickly enough.
You're right. I think also in that period, at the middle and the end of the first half, when we scored the 2 goals, I think we looked really sharp getting the ball from Chalobah to Caicedo, and then he was looking forward, and that's what I want him to do. And I think that's how we also got the goals. We built up attacks from the back to the front, and this is something we rarely do. And maybe sometimes Silva, Disasi, and even Cole will take a little bit more time, but today we looked like we were a bit more on the front foot. And this was positive, yeah.
There you go. I mean, Varna here says, Chalobah has quality. He would fit a mid-table Premier League team. Oh, wait, we are. It's true. So that's why we shouldn't be being sold. He shouldn't get sold, in my opinion anyway, but of course he will. I mean, Varna said 6 to 6.5. Jay said 5, 4.5. I find 4.5 and a 4 very harsh. But then again, but to me, because the main issue of the game today wasn't the defense. Like, how many shots did Leeds have in total? I mean, they did have 13 shots.
I mean, I think the main issue was the defense. I think it was. I think the defense was very unorganized, in my opinion.
No, okay, I agree with that. The defense is unorganized, but I don't think as individuals they did that much wrong. Other than Disasi for the first goal and maybe the second goal.
They for sure did not make individual mistakes, but as a team unit, they made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I do agree. It's not like I disagree, but it just felt like the shape was all over the place again. Like we touched on, we tried to build in a 3, then Gusto was super high up.
No,
the left side Sterling was actually help. Caicedo dropped between the centre back sometimes he dropped to right back, sometimes he dropped to left back to build up, and then sometimes you saw Caicedo dropping deeper than the centre backs and Disasi telling him go forward again, and you're like, what is the structure? This is one of the main, like my reason isn't we're not winning enough games. It's not as simple as that's why I want Poch out, but it's things like, how can Caicedo drop behind the centre backs and Disasi tell him to go forward again? Like, what is this cohesion? Nothing. But anyway, we give Chalobah a 5.5 and we move on to Alfie Gilchrist. I obviously love him, and he obviously moved over to right back once Gusto was replaced by Ben Chilwell, until Gilchrist himself was then replaced by Levi Colwell, and then Chalobah played right back. But what did I make of Gilchrist? He looked shaky the first few minutes. Made two nearly bad mistakes. Didn't lead to anything, but still nearly made two bad mistakes. Had a 93% passing accuracy. Had 4 out of 5 accurate long balls, which that's actually pretty good going. But the defensive stats, he just didn't seem to manage to get into duels. 0 out of 1 ground duels. He didn't even have any aerial duels. He didn't have any tackles. Okay, had 5 recoveries, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions. But in the grand scheme of things, he didn't make I want to say 5 because I love him, but I'm probably going to have to say 4.5, like for Disasi. I know I gave Disasi less than that, but as an overall, we ended up on a 4.5 for Disasi. So because I also feel like he was at fault for a goal, even if the Disasi one is an easier mistake, like a worse mistake. What do you think? Do you think I'm being harsh with a 4.5? Would you give him a 5, or would you go with?
I think it's basically a toss between 4.5 and 5 because, as you said, he did some mistakes. They did not lead to anything, but overall, I think he suffered from being just moved around.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much we can blame him for that, but I don't know. Maybe the 4.5.
Left back the first time, maybe we give him the benefit of the doubt and give him that 0.5 extra. I don't know.
I think the most important thing is he did okay, and all of them did okay. That the thing is, if we want to progress the team, they should do better than okay, and that's the whole thing. And I really hope Poch can get them to be a little bit better individually and as a team. But so yeah, I mean, 5 is also fine. I also like him. He's passionate. He obviously wants to play for the team. So I would love him to also get more minutes sometimes.
I would love him to one day actually play centre back. I know he's physically small, and that's probably why that's not happened yet. But I would still like to see him actually play in the position that he's learned for all of his life. I mean, that would be interesting to actually see for once.
Well, I mean,
go on.
Yeah, it would not be bad to see him play center back, but I think he could also do it as a right back in a system where maybe Chilwell is the one bombing forward. But the thing is, if everything is fit, we have enough right backs. So
yeah, no, absolutely,
it's gonna be tough. I just hope he doesn't end up on loan to Luton in 3 years' time.
No, maybe not in 3 years. In 3 years, we will have sold him for 8 million. Don't worry. We move over to Malagusta on the other side. Yeah. You said the whole defense was poor for you. I agree that Malagusta wasn't great today. He just looked tired. But honestly, am I surprised? Absolutely not.
Honestly, he was.
Sorry?
He was tired for sure. I mean, he looked knackered.
Exactly, 100%. Like he plays every minute of every game until he gets injured. Then he's out for a few weeks, and then he comes back and plays every minute of every game again. Like this man management is just diabolical. I know he didn't play every minute of the game because he got subbed off today, but even still, the fact that he started. But the weird thing is, and I'm not sure if you've looked at it, Dimitar, but Gusto's stats actually kind of phenomenal. Not the passing stats, but he had 4 out of 4 tackles. He had 5 out of 8 ground rules. He had at least 1 out of 1 successful dribble. That's something. Okay, phenomenal is a stretch. But the defensive stats are good. 4 out of 4 tackles, 5 out of 8 ground duels. Those are good stats. Because I do think in the individual 1v1 defensive moments, I actually think he was really good at those. But there was the misunderstandings with Mudryk a few times where is that necessarily Gusto's fault? No, but the combination of the two. And I want to say he was caught out of position a few times. But then again, if we talk about that, we build like this, then is it called being caught out of position, or is he just in his position and he just has to run back when we lose the ball? It's a bit of a difficult one to define, I suppose. It's like it's difficult to define without knowing the exact instructions that each player had. I think he was still the best of our centre backs. So I know you will go below a 6, but I think he just about warrants a 6. Now, you know what? Change my mind. 5.5. 5.5. What would you give him, man?
I was thinking about 5.5 because, as you said, being out of position today is for sure not his fault. And my normal problem with him is that sometimes I think he just looks better because of his agility. And he is very agile and very fast. But today I kind of liked him. He played safe and he stayed back mostly because he was tired. But I think he covered his zone relatively well. So I think a 5.5 is okay. And I also think our left side was better, even though Gilchrist was playing there. Maybe in the upper side of the pitch where Enzo was picking up the ball, he had a lot of options with both Mudryk and Sterling. Because even though Mudryk was playing central, he was there. I think the defenders or the opposition midfield always know that he can just like drift and go deep wide left. So they always had something in their mind, and I think that gave us a lot of space for Sterling and a lot of space for Jackson also, who missed a criminal chance at the beginning of the second half where he made a phenomenal run from the left side into the middle of the pitch into the box, and then he just scuffed it. I think that was a criminal miss because we could have put the game to bed at 2-1 and it was going to be over.
I don't know what's happening with my memory, but I have no recollection.
It was him. It was a 2 versus 2. Him from the left to the middle, absolutely. And Mudryk was running straight.
He kind of lost the ball because he took too long.
Yeah, he basically scuffed it in his feet, and I think he should have either passed or shot. But yeah, I mean, I think our left was in general better, but as I said, I think Gusto was fine. He was better than usual for me, maybe because he was a bit more tired.
I still find it crazy. Like, you're the only person I know that doesn't think Malo Gusto is amazing.
No, I mean, the thing is, he is very agile and very fast. And I just think people get this a little bit of FIFA brain rot, where if a player is fast and agile, he's Messi. And because in FIFA, that's it. If you're agile and fast, you're the best player in the ultimate team thing.
He's the Messi of right backs.
Yeah. So I think today
but don't you think for his frame, he does physically really well? Like when he's in 1v1s, he so rarely gets
for sure. The thing is, today I saw what I wanted to see from him, being a little bit more slower and just staying in his position, seeing how he reads the game and how he tries to defend. Because they, as you said, 1v1, he looked okay, which is what I wanted to see how he would perform. Because normally he's really just bombing forward. And he's great at that for sure. But at the end of the day, he's a right back. And I would want my right back to be able to defend if need be. And today he showed, okay, maybe he can. So as I said, I was impressed.
In the cup final, like I think he had 16 duels and he won 10 of them.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you are right. You're right.
But you know, at the same time, even if to some extent, I actually agree with your criticism, even though I think we need to remember, he's 20. He's the same age. And when you think about him being the same age as Gilchrist, you're like, okay, maybe he is actually good at just give him a couple.
No, I mean, the thing is, it's not exactly criticism. It's just I want to see more. It's just I really don't know what type of player he is because he's 20. Because a lot of players look amazing when they're 20 and then come 23 and they get sold to Nottingham Forest for 2 million, like Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, this can happen, but today I think he was okay. Yeah.
You know, I've genuinely thought sometimes if you just play him in a forward position, like you could, if you wanted to, play Reece James right back, Gusto right wing, and I don't think it would be an issue. You can sometimes have Reece bomb up, and then Gusto will drop deep and cover, and then Gusto does enough up the pitch, in my opinion, with the crossing. Sure, he would have to work on it, but if he played as an attacker, he could turn into a bit of a Willian. You know, one of these kind of like wingers that like does a job, will track back. Not the best in
the thing is, when we get everyone fit, I think Poch or any manager, if another comes next season, they could try to experiment. And now we're just so constrained with all of the injury that no one can experiment. And but you are right. Maybe there is something there. We will have to see.
Especially with how our wingers are doing at the moment. Because, I mean, we'll get to him later, but you touched on the left side being better. I just thought Mudryk was absolutely diabolical today. I don't think Sterling was any good either, but Sterling was still a bit better than Mudryk. And that says a lot. We move on to Caicedo. He got booked a bit stupidly again, which is kind of like his favorite thing to do.
I was screaming at my TV. Why did he make that foul? I mean, it was a very small foul. It was not harsh, or it was not like, how you say,
dangerous or anything,
dangerous, but it was so stupid. No need for that. There's no need for that.
100%. And that's my honesty for the whole season. That's my biggest criticism of Caicedo, the amount of unnecessary yellow cards he gets himself. Like, stop it. why are you doing this? Just don't understand why he keeps doing it. But look, I actually think Caicedo was one of our better players in the grand scheme of things. I think he played the through ball to Jackson for Jackson's goal, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see.
Yep, you're right. Yeah.
So he got the assist for the first goal, which is good going, I suppose. Had the 93% passing accuracy. Has got 1 out of 1 dribbles, 4 out of 5 long balls, 4 out of 5 tackles, 6 out of 9 ground duels. It's pretty good going, to be honest. 10 recoveries. Honestly, I actually might agree with JP here. Maybe 7 is pushing it slightly, and maybe I'm thinking, you know what? No, I'm going to say 6.5 because Caicedo might have been good overall, but let's not forget how poor we were in the whole second half, and that we had 37% possession at points in the second half. That is unacceptable. In the grand scheme of things, against the championship team, we had 49% possession. We had 59. 51. They had 49. It's crazy. They had more XG than we did as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to say 6.5. What would you give him?
The thing is, I come here always and I say I didn't like his performance, and today I also didn't like it.
Okay.
I think, sorry. It's not that I have some kind of agenda, but what I notice with him is he always makes the safe pass. I've said that already a lot on this channel. But what I noticed today was that sometimes when the opposing team is attacking, Caicedo is looking at the people or person who are making the attack, and then he just backpedaling. And you can't do that always. When you're a central defensive midfielder, and when you play basically a lone pivot with the occasional Enzo coming deep to help you progress the ball, you have to have a little bit of intent to maybe either stop the attack or at least be kind of an obstruction. Because if for years people said Kante was everywhere, the thing is Kante had a very good read of the game where he saw where the attack was going and he positioned himself in certain spaces. So even if he can't make the perfect tackle, he's at least standing there, forcing the other players to go around him. But Caicedo keeps backpedaling when defending, and I really don't like it. And I know he got booked relatively early, so he can't make last-ditch superhero tackles, but I think he should try, or I think he should do is he should be a little bit more aggressive and find the pocket of space where the opposing team is attacking, at least be there. Because most of the time, the attacking players from the opposing team just go past behind him with 2 passes. And he has to sprint backwards and either make a stupid tackle or just wave his hands in the air when we can see the goal, which is what he did for the second goal, basically.
He did. Even though he can stop the second goal, but
he was not at fault for that. But
it's just the DM. He needs to stop a bit more at DM than he does.
I think what would be good for him.
But Billy G says the guy's a true 8 playing in the 6th position. I don't think he's a true 8.
No,
but he certainly has hints of an 8. I do agree.
I think what he should do is, I hope when Lavia is fit, Caicedo can just take 2 games, rest up a little bit, sit in the stands, find the highest position possible, and just observe how the team is playing. Because sometimes, really, he always looks backwards. And he makes the safe at passes, which is not a bad quality. I don't want him to attack.
I would say that he has. I agree with you in general, but I mostly agree with you a few weeks ago. I think he is actually slowly improving at that. Even today, you see 4 out of 5 long balls.
No, this is true. He's getting in the right direction.
Getting better at it, in my opinion.
But the thing is, so today he did that only between the 15th and 45th minute, where we needed goals and where the whole team looked better. Sometimes, not always, of course, but sometimes the team needs one player. Doesn't matter who it is. It can be the CDM, it can be the left wing, the left back. Someone needs to do something to spark up the team. And if your CDM, and if when the team is playing with low confidence, with low energy, if the CDM is always recycling the ball and 99.9% of the time just passing backwards and sideways, this will never happen. And the thing is that what I don't understand is why Jorginho got roasted for playing sideways, even though Jorginho had maybe 3 to 4 to 5 passes into the final third every single game. And I'm not sure Caicedo has that. And people like, maybe they just didn't like Jorginho, I don't know, but I think Caicedo has the potential. He just has to maybe take 1 or 2 games rest to see how the team plays, and also to to get really a little bit of rest because he's been basically the most fit midfielder we have. And since he started playing in the middle of October, he hasn't stopped playing. So he has basically no time to recover, to think about it, to maybe just
and also
look how the
he's
team plays.
22, still very young. Can't forget that. I mean, I not maybe instruction, but I would say a lack of instruction to tell Caicedo to do things slightly differently. It's not news that Pochettino doesn't really think of tactics that highly. Like there was reports at PSG that he never does tactics sessions. So what do I make of I don't know how true it is, obviously, but then sorry, there has to be something there for the report to come out for me. Dimitar, I don't think you gave me your rating for Caicedo.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm gonna say a 6, and I'm gonna let the chat decide. Even though I know they're gonna go for the higher position, but yeah, I mean, he was for sure out of the defensive unit. Maybe he was the best part of that whole defensive unit, considering the back four and the CDM for sure. But I think the defenders just set a really low bar today. So
no, fair dues.
that's
Fair.
what it is.
So, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, because we are between a 6 and a 6.5, I've put a poll up in the chat for you to essentially choose Caicedo's rating between a 6 and a 6.5. So please place your vote in the poll at the top of the live chat. If you're on your phone, it's just below us. If you're on a desktop, it's to your right. So just click your choice there, and we move on for the time being. Enzo Fernandez, Dimitar. Other than the decisive pass at the end that won us the game, what did you make of Enzo?
I think he's probably the most improved player for the calendar year, in my opinion, because he's starting to understand his role a little bit better. And I think he's starting to pick up the right moments where he goes next to Caicedo, tries to exchange a couple of passes with him, and then he understands maybe how to attack the open space a little bit better. So I think he was maybe the best player on the pitch in the original starting lineup. Then when we mixed things up, it was a little bit hard to say, but then he did that phenomenal run for the goal. So for me, he would be also my man of the match, and maybe I would give him a 7 or 7.5 even, because like I said, I think he's starting to understand how to attack spaces, and our left side is starting to look better. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's because also Jackson prefers to go there, Sterling prefers to go there, Mudryk prefers to go there, and today the opposition could not deal with all of these players who are left-minded, and just Enzo had a little bit more space also. That could be the thing, but I think he just plays better and better, and hopefully until the end of the season we can see that Enzo from the World Cup a little bit.
Hopefully. See, it's a weird one. The main thing, aside from the assist that stands out in my mind, is kind of the moment where he had in the box where he could have tried to like either shoot or square it, and instead he went back to the byline and then tried to cut it across but lost the ball. That was kind of a moment where that frustrated me a bit. Otherwise, honestly, my main takeaway was that I felt he also looked tired, a bit like Gusto, I'll be honest. But now looking at the stats are really good. 94% passing accuracy.
For me, he didn't look tired, actually.
Did he not? For me, I don't know. Not necessarily that he didn't want to run, but then whenever he did run, he just didn't look as sharp as he usually does, or as quick off the mark as he usually does. Maybe it was just my impression rather than the reality. That's absolutely possible. But yeah, like I say, okay, 0 out of 2 dribbles, which wasn't kind of the assist dribble before that. Hey, each to their own with the stat makers. But 4 out of 5 long balls, 4 out of 5 tackles, 7 out of 12 ground duels, 2 out of 2 aerial duels. It's pretty good going. Pretty good going. You know what? I think I'm going to say 7. Did you decide between 7 and 7.5?
Let's say 7 as well. Okay. Let's say 7.
Fair dues.
Like I said, I think his best quality is just like attacking the right space, and that's what we need as a team, because sometimes under Poch, it feels like we don't know which spaces to attack, and the team is very confused. And if some players start to understand it, I think that's a good sign. Hopefully, enough players can until the end of the season.
Absolutely. On that note, I would also say that, and I'm not trying to excuse Enzo for anything, but because the forward line has been so not necessarily changed all the time, because 95% of the time it has been Jackson, Sterling, and Palmer, with Gallagher thrown in there usually. That's been most of our games this season. I do still think that because we have such a lack of pattern in attacking lines, it's difficult for someone that's
for sure.
arriving late to know when to arrive where, because it's not always the same. Because I feel our team plays on instinct and on intuition rather than on anything planned ahead. Okay, he moves there, I move here. Like City do. City knows, De Bruyne knows, if I get the ball here, Haaland is running. You have no idea, Chelsea, for that. You can't give Enzo the ball and say, who's making a run now? He doesn't know. Sometimes it may be Jackson, sometimes it may be Sterling, sometimes it may be no one. You never know. So it's much more difficult for these kind of deeper creative players to really know what to do, because you don't know what the others are going to do. So I think that makes it more difficult for him, and that's what I also agree with you. He's getting better at this. I think you slow, as much as I don't think Poch is helping much, I think you can see that this team was obviously a new team that didn't know each other, 95% of them in the summer, and now they've played together for 8 months. So obviously things and relationship connections will just eventually, of course, naturally just get a bit better. We move up the pitch. I want to do Mudryk first, because he was the one that frustrated me the most in the first half. Did you recall that shot that he took after the corner when Mudryk played the corner straight to Mudryk, and then he took that shot? Remember that?
Yeah. The thing is, I think that is
marbles at it.
That is maybe the only thing I remember him doing in the first half.
There was one other thing. You know that shot where he had at the near post? They smashed it into the side netting.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Those are the only two. And on that, he should have squared it to Jackson. Would have been a tap-in, but instead he shoots for absolutely no reason. But on Mudryk, on that shot, I literally tweeted, I'm like, he should be subbed off for that. Obviously,
I saw that. Yeah.
Obviously, it's a bit of heat of the moment, and I don't actually think you should be subbing a player off for one bad
No,
moment.
but the thing is, Pep would sub him off for that. I'm pretty sure.
Or if he doesn't sub him, at least he would call him over and scream in his face, while Pochettino just sits there on the bench, does fuck all again. But what is he doing? Like, the ball comes to him, 30 yards, it rolls on the floor, no opponent anywhere near him, and then he doesn't move his right leg. Like, there's no getting himself ready to shoot. He just stood there, the way he stands like a bit of a clown, always with his feet sideways, stands there, and then just shoots. And I compared it to literally like, you know, when you're like in the park and there's a few kids playing football, and then the ball rolls to some grandpa, and that grandpa tries to kick the ball. That's what Mudryk did. What is he doing? Like a clown. So he pissed me off. He didn't really help defensively enough either. So I'm giving him a 2. I thought it was terrible. Honestly, I'll be honest, bro. I know we won at the end, but you could argue all of these ratings are 1 or 2 too high.
The thing is, ratings are mostly given for fan popularity, and if we win, people will be positive, making jokes like we do now. If we lose, people are going to be negative. But the thing is, Mudryk had probably his worst game of the season, because he had no impact. I think sometimes you can make bad mistakes, you can make miscalculated passes, but you're in the game. He was not in the game. He was basically what Mudryk does a lot of games, where he's there, but people just pass around him. It's like he's invisible. And that was today. And maybe that was because, like we said, the left side was a bit more, crowded, and people focused a little bit more there. But if it was Palmer on the right side, we would have noticed him, and he would have gotten the ball for sure. So, I would say maybe a 3 for Mudryk, so he gets a 2.5 average rating. But
I went a bit too harsh. I'll agree with you, 3.
The thing is,
maybe 2 is a bit much.
The thing is, we won the game.
I've just looked through the stats, and I don't want to let the stats influence me too much, right? But 2 out of 3 dribbles, 1 out of 1 crosses, 5 out of 5 long balls. Don't know when those long balls supposed to have happened, but apparently I had 5 out of 5 successful long balls. 4 out of 8 ground duels, 2 out of 2 aerial duels. Honestly, these stats aren't bad. These stats are actually
How many touches did he have? How many touches to the ball?
46.
Actually, that's not that bad, but
and he played 61 minutes, obviously.
I don't know. I mean, really, for me, I barely noticed him. The thing is,
honestly, he just, and this slightly surprises me, Mudryk played 30 minutes more and had only 41 touches.
Yeah, but that's normal for Mudryk.
It is normal for Mudryk, and obviously a large majority of these touches for Mudryk was getting the ball, passing it back to Gusto. Obviously, in a wide space, we'd never do it with Mudryk, but in a wide space, in theory, it is always easier. Just pass them the ball; they always have enough space to receive it, they can pass it back. It's kind of like easy to recycle the ball that way. We never do it with Mudryk on the left side. We don't even do it with Sterling that much on the left side. Let me check Sterling's touches, actually. Do you want to take a guess at Sterling's touches, bro?
27.
Not bad. 32.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he actually played more, like 13 minutes more than Madueke, and he had 14 less touches. Maybe we're just harsh on Madueke. I don't know. But
the
he
thing
had
is,
more touches
Sterling,
than all the other attackers, and he did less. So if anything, maybe
Sterling was in dangerous positions, and Sterling also assisted for a goal. And I think Sterling, people are too harsh, but if the team can make good attacking patterns, Sterling is always there to be part of a goal-scoring attack. If the team is inconsistent, if the team is scrambled, yeah, Sterling can't do anything. I mean, sorry. He played 6 years under Pep Guardiola.
And he isn't going to be the guy that tries. Like, he's not going to try to fight it for the team, to win it for the team.
Yeah, I mean, he never was. Sterling is a very good piece of a relatively well-functioning attack. And I'm sure if he went back to City tomorrow, he will score 15 goals a season. No problem.
100%. I mean, no, I do agree with you. But I just think my main issue is just, I mean, we're still on Madueke, but I guess we'll move on to Sterling straight after. On Noni, just one more time quickly. I mean, he was involved in that first goal, that issue. Someone said he was also involved in the second goal. Did he play Sterling through? Was that him?
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Maybe that makes even a 3 a bit harsh.
Oh, you know what? Madueke took the ball from the left to the right, played Sterling, and Sterling played into Mudryk. So yeah, maybe he basically did for the second goal what Enzo did for the third goal. So yeah, maybe we went a little bit too low, but
shall we give him a 4?
Let's give him a 4. Yeah, let's give him a 4. Yeah,
let's give him a 4. We move over to Raheem Sterling. Before we talk about his performance and rating, I quickly want to say one thing. He was booed off today when he was subbed off. And just my opinion, I never like booing our own players. Unless you do something like Lukaku.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was. And it wasn't just a friend of mine was in the West Harding, and he said there was a lot of boos for when he came off.
Wow, okay.
And I just don't think that should happen. Like, you should. I don't care if you don't like him. I don't care if you think he's bad. Just don't boo your own players. This is where the toxicity comes from. This is the base of the whole problem at the football club, in my opinion. There is such a disconnect.
You are right,
but the fans don't even try. Like, don't boo your own players, man. Like, just don't do it. I just don't think it's necessary. But each to their own, I suppose. I can't. I don't know what's the word, but I can't tell everyone what to do. It's just my opinion is never boo your own players.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And if you remember, like, Sterling scored the goal in the final. It was ruled by a very dodgy offside, but he had one chance and he basically scored a goal. And I think this is... I
mean, it wasn't the easiest goal ever. It's not giving it
but the thing is, he was in the right place, in the right time, and he did his job. And I think that is the problem Chelsea have in general. We don't have players who do that enough.
But he only wants to be at the end of it. I know he assisted the goal for Mudryk. I get that. But 9 times out of 10, he wants to be the last guy. Like I touched on,
he is a consumer.
Sorry?
The thing is, football players and attackers, in my mind, are either consumers or creators. And if you're a world-class player like an Eden Hazard, for example, you can be both. And Sterling is very good at just consuming. And I think that was what we bought him for, because under Tuchel we needed a goal-scoring outlet. And I'm pretty sure that was the pitch made to him. Hey, you can come to Chelsea. We create 2,000 chances a game. You can score 2 goals a game out of those 2,000 chances. And he was like, yay. So, and then he comes here and literally we can't create quality chances all of a sudden. Yeah. And we create scuffed chances and we miss all of them.
Yeah, so it's just, it frustrates me, man, because we know he's a good player. And then I see him on the left with space, and you see on the counter, and you see Mudryk running faster than everyone, obviously, in front of goal, completely on his own. And all Sterling would have to do is pass it to him. Now, sure, does Mudryk control it properly? Does Mudryk finish it? A different question. But at least we would have a chance one-on-one with the goalkeeper then. But Sterling instead didn't even cross. No, and those are the situations that just infuriate me. I'm like, it's so
this
simple.
Is the truth.
You don't have to be the best player in the world. There's 50 meters free. Just pass it to your teammate. That's all you have to do.
No, he is frustrating, I know, and I understand why people get frustrated, but I don't understand why people blame him literally every time we lose the game and Sterling has played even 10 minutes in the game, it's his fault. That's what I don't get, and if people booed him today, really, that's like, you don't do that. I mean, and he assisted for the second goal. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, he did. He did. Just quickly, before I ask you the rating, shout out Lewis. A lot of people joined from Lewis's stream right now. So hello, everybody that has joined from Lewis's stream. Big up yourself. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Dimitar, on Sterling, what do you reckon? What rating do you give him? Obviously got an assist, a good assist too. Could have had another, maybe. But I don't think he deserved the boost today.
I think maybe a 5.5, because I think once again our attack is maybe the best thing we had, because even when we were playing a little bit poorly, they were trying to do some pressing and they were trying to be like as an organized unit to the front. And I think in most games that's our best quality. We're best in the final third of the pitch, because we can make good tackles, we can make good pressing, and we can steal some balls, so to say, to create the chances of our own. And I think, and I generally like Sterling. I have to admit, I think he can be a good Chelsea player and maybe even win stuff with Chelsea. But the thing is, we have to sort out our attack to maximize his usefulness. So yeah, I mean, 5.5. I think he was fine, basically.
No, I do agree. I do agree. Do I want to give him a 5.5 as well? In a way, what I think is the fairest rating for him today is a 5, but I kind of have to say 4.5 for that, and that's a bit unfair. So on that note, especially because we've just had a lot of new people join us, let's put out another poll. For now, for Caicedo, the 6.5 won over the 6. Sorry, Dimitar.
Yeah, no, I mean, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, you did know that was going to happen. But ladies and gentlemen, especially the new people that have joined as well, let's give you a poll for Raheem Sterling's rating, shall we? Sterling rating. And I'll just let you pick between 5 and 5.5. I could do more, obviously, but I'll just do that. There's part of me that wants to say 4.5 because he annoys me, but just make it interesting. Get you guys involved, and you pick between a 5 and a 5.5, and we see what you guys think. Let me just write that up on screen so I don't forget that we actually have a poll going for this. And we move on to Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, scored a nice goal. I thought it was a good finish. But what I thought you felt the most today was what happens when you start him compared to what happens when you bring him off the bench. Now, of course, he played in the middle today, which made it a little bit easier for him to get involved, even though he still didn't have loads of touches. Still more involved than usually he is on the left wing. We could also see by the amount of Sterling. Sterling had even less touches than Mudryk, and how often does that happen, right? But I think Mudryk's game today, he kept it very simple at the beginning. Received the ball, passed it straight back. Received the ball, passed it straight. He didn't lose it, but, received the ball and passed it straight back. Even if I bring up his stats, okay, could be a bit better, but 16 out of 22 passes. He just kept it simple until that one switch when he received the ball, I think from Chalobah or Disasi, one of the centre-backs anyway. And first time he switched it to Gusto. Without seeing where Gusto was, he just smacked it over to the right wing, and it fell perfectly to Gusto. And I'm like, finally, someone knows that you can just receive the ball and hit it. You don't need to control it. You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait until someone kicks you in the back. Just play it first time. I know Enzo and Caicedo are very different type of players, but sometimes it would just be so simple. If one of these midfielders that receives the ball from the defense, if they just play the switch ball to their left or their right, just fast, and it opened an attack immediately. Then he had the chip ball to Sterling, which I thought was quite nice when Sterling unfortunately ruined that touch a little bit. And he scored the goal. He had another nice dribble as well. He had that shot from the near post where the goalkeeper saved it with his foot.
That was great as well. Yeah.
I thought he did good today. In the grand scheme of things, obviously you can't overdo it because he still had like 3 or 4 good moments, and otherwise he was very invisible. And by the way, it is so interesting. His main position is left wing, but as soon as Gallagher came on and Mudryk moved over to left wing again and not as the number 10, you didn't see him again.
Oh yeah, he basically moved on and sat somewhere between the fans on the left wing because he was nowhere on that pitch for the last 20 minutes.
I don't know what he does when he goes on the left wing. It's his position, but he doesn't seem to know really how to affect a game when he is there. But at the 10, he did seem to do a job today. I would give him, I think a 7 would be overdoing it, so I'm going to say 6.5. He did still score at the end of the day. What would you give Mudryk, bro?
I was thinking exactly the same, 6.5, and the thing is, he is lacking confidence, which makes him scoring that goal a bit more impressive, because that's a striker's finish, and that's a striker's finish on a good run of form.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
that's a Didier Drogba finish in the FA Cup final type of finish, because
Yeah,
it looked easy, but it was not, for sure, because the
ask Gallagher in
ball.
the cup final. It's not
Oh
easy.
yeah, I mean, and how many of those have we seen Jackson miss this season? So this was a tough finish, and I think this will do wonders for his confidence. And I just hope we can have a little bit more players fit, so we can rotate and try different things. Because what I thought when I saw the lineup, okay, Palmer is missing. Let's see what we create today. And granted, we did not create a lot, but we made two very good, very well structured goal scoring opportunities, and we scored them basically. And that thing which Enzo made, it was basically a solo run. So I will not count that as a structured attack, but it was also kind of resembling that.
Yeah,
So
I
we
agree.
showed we can score goals without Palmer, but we also showed that we lack something without Palmer. So now the question is, can you put Mudryk, Enzo, Palmer, and Kunku when he's fit? Can you fit those players in
If
a
that ever
starting
happens,
11?
I think
Yeah,
Kunku.
but yeah, but can you fit those players in a starting 11 and still have options to change things? Because today, moving Mudryk to the left changed things for the worst. And this is also going to be key for Poch if he wants to try and keep his job. He has to make the players he has more impactful. Even though
Yeah,
it's limited, even though they are always injured, if he finds a way to get more out of Mudryk, to get more out of Sterling a little bit, more out of Jackson, more out of Palmer even, then he will keep his job. But if
yeah.
he keeps relying only on Palmer and Gallagher to bail him out, it's not going to end
You
well.
know what? You know what I'll even say now, Dimitar. I don't even think Poch wants to be here past the summer. If I'm honest, like he does, he doesn't feel like a man that does. Maybe that's just me portraying things into comments and actions. But
I mean, he is for sure frustrated, but he's frustrated because he knows that the road he has in front of him is tough. Even if
yeah,
he keeps
I
his
think I think
job,
his main frustration is just the lack of appreciation, and it's the same that
oh,
Potter
for
felt.
sure,
It's the same that Sarri
for sure,
felt. Eventually, they
for
don't
sure.
want to be here, and I understand it as
Yeah.
well. If I was them, even if I would never be Pochettino, because I would never be at Tottenham, I would still, I would still, honestly, if you don't feel appreciated somewhere, you don't want to be there, and that's why I'm like, how do we expect the players to play well for our club if we boo them, abuse them, criticize them every time they do something wrong? Now, for Sterling, maybe it's a bit more acceptable because he's at least older, but all the other ones are so young, and the fans are on their case as if they were Prime Eden Hazard, and that's what they're expecting. Okay, that's maybe the bad example, but at least as if they're
No, it's
expecting
true. It's
Mudryk to be
true.
Pedro or Willian at least. And of course he's not. Of course he's not. But they're not going to get better if you keep abusing them. That's all I'll try to say. I wanted to highlight this here quickly by Kevin. I'm not sure if you try to, in the grand scheme of things, hint at us giving too high ratings. I get what you're saying, and maybe they are a tad high on a couple of occasions. But at the same time, we have to rate on who we played against, because otherwise we can only give high ratings when we play Man City and Liverpool. You know what I mean? And
But
Arsenal.
the thing is, even though it was not the Leeds starting 11, they were on a good run of form,
Yeah, they've won 11 or 12 games in a row until today.
and they went to the game with the intent to press us and to try and attack, and it was kind of an open game. I mean, they did not sit back.
No.
Even when they were 1-0 up, yeah, they were a bit more defensive, but they were never like playing with 10 men behind the ball. So even though it was Leeds a championship opposition, we have to give some credit to the players for turning it around and finally winning the game at the end. Because like I don't know,
Yeah, no, I hear it.
we
I
could
hear
have lost, and then the situation would have been
very
dire.
absolutely. Kevin says we have slated Marcos Alonso for better performances, but mate, Marcos Alonso is the slowest left back that has ever existed. So of course he got slated. I know
But
David actually likes Alonso and I don't. But
do you know something funny? If you make a small calculation, Marcos Alonso had a goal or an assist every 4 games in his Chelsea career. And even though he did not play so much up until the end, he was very consistent in attack. He was just very slow.
He was very slow and I have no idea how to defend. But as an attacker, he was brilliant. He was just, if he was quicker, he would have been a phenomenal winger. But or even striker. He could head, he could shoot. Honestly, I still think he could be like Olivier Giroud, essentially. Just put him up front.
Yeah.
He literally could be.
That is for sure. Or if we had a left winger who was tracking back instead of Hazard.
Yeah,
for the first 2 years.
Left, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I wanted to highlight this as well. But Age Naku, shout out you. He says on Mudryk, this is showed he isn't a complete fool, like some make him out to be. When everyone's counting you out and the manager hops into, then it's not easy. Be it an academy player or a multi-million signing, absolutely. And I quickly want to touch on. Will I get this up quickly enough now? There was obviously this report that came out today of this weird.
I saw it. Yeah. That was very strange.
Yeah, it's so weird. But Pice, and obviously, you know, Dimitar, I know Pice quite well. He says to me, this guy actually usually knows what he's on about when it comes to Arsenal. Like, he's reliable. So that Pice was also confused. Like, Pice doesn't usually post random shit of random. Pice quite meticulous of only posting people he thinks are reliable. But the report, if people hadn't seen it, maybe I can try to get it up quickly, was essentially that Mudryk was on the phone crying to Arsenal, essentially, when the move to Arsenal was in the process.
The thing is that move, us hijacking that deal, was the dodgiest thing to have happened in football for the last couple of years. Because, like, I saw a tweet somewhere, this transfer was basically war reparations. And the thing is that Todd Bowley just came in, he offered a tank, he offered some money, he offered some clothes. It was crazy, and it was a very dodgy transfer. And yeah, I mean, I am pretty sure that him choosing Chelsea over Arsenal was basically not him, and maybe Shakhtar just saying to him, yo, bro, these American people will give us the money instantly and not have to, like, make installments and stuff like that. You're going to Chelsea. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So I would understand if he was sad, because in football this happens sometimes. That your agent, your club,
like, let's be real, he was.
He was. I mean,
the only thing I find strange about the whole story, and obviously everyone can give their thoughts as well, but for me, is like you can see on screen now, Mykhailo Mudryk was in tears on the phone to Arsenal, asking them to do something as he was on his way to the airport. But let's think about something here. How did the Mudryk deal happen? Eghbali and I think Stewart, maybe, or was it Winstanley, one of them, flew to Turkey, where Shakhtar Donetsk were holding their pre-season camp, because obviously in Ukraine,
they make a pause.
From March to November. So they were on pre-season in Turkey. So on the way to the airport, Mudryk would have been with Eghbali and the Chelsea people. And I guarantee you one thing, he was definitely not on the phone to Arsenal crying while he was traveling with Eghbali. Like, he definitely.
I don't know. Maybe he snuck off at the airport. The Istanbul airport is big. I don't know if you've been there, but it's huge.
Not the private jet part. That it probably is that. But my thinking, and maybe I'm trying to clutch at straws here, absolutely. But my thinking is, we don't know the full story of everything. Yes, we know Chelsea swooped in. But we don't know if maybe Shakhtar already essentially said no to Arsenal. And he was like, no, come on, please make it happen, the move to Arsenal, before Chelsea moved in. Because the Arsenal reports, they're not going to explain the detail of that. I think it's much more likely this happened before Chelsea swooped in, I think. But I don't know.
The thing is, I don't know if he was crying, but for sure he would have been upset, because it happened very dodgy, really. I mean, it was something that, like, it was being talked in the media. Yeah, maybe Chelsea will try to hijack it. Maybe Chelsea will pay this crazy money, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I think it was like 24 hours when people related with Arsenal said, hey, guys, I think this is done. We're not getting him. And then Chelsea people started tweeting, yo, we're getting him. And then we got him. And it happened very fast. I mean,
no, absolutely, but that's my point, though, right? Like, will he be? Because to me, as far as we know, he wasn't like an Arsenal fan growing up. So, I think that what mattered to him was getting out of Ukraine and getting a move to the Premier League. I don't think for him it mattered that much. Is it Arsenal or is it Chelsea? So that's sorry. Let me just say that one last thing. The other thing is, if this was true to the exact extent as it is, why are we only hearing about this over a year later? Because if anyone knew this, This is a huge story. Why now? Why now just after we lost the cup final? Because now it's easy to dunk on us. That's why these kind of stories come out that, in my opinion, there's probably some truth to it. But like I say, maybe it was 3 days earlier before Chelsea actually swooped in and he was scared that the Arsenal deal was going to not go through. And that's why he was telling them, please do something. Again, I don't know, but what I hate is this idea that, okay, everything's bad now, so now we're going to shit on the players. No, fuck off. He's clearly shown that he's trying to beat Chelsea, working hard. He might not always be good enough, sure, that's each to their own. But let's not fucking jump on the players. It's the last thing we need. The players are our only hope because the owners are fucking it. The sporting directors are fucking it. In my opinion, the manager is fucking it. And these players, they have signed on 8-year contracts. They ain't going anywhere. So the only people that will get us out of this shit show are the players. So how about we back the players? That's the only way it's going to happen. That's the only way it's going to happen, for me at least. But anyway,
the thing is,
you agreed with the 6.5 for Mudryk, didn't you?
Let me just say something. The thing is, I think you're completely right. And this story come up only because we lost the final. But also, people have to realize something about football. Football is run exclusively by agents. I have a couple of relatively close friends who were footballers back in Bulgaria, and even at that level, with a very bad league, with very low income of money, even for 200,000 euros, your agent can really screw your career over if you don't want to follow them, and they can dictate where you go. So I can only imagine what happens with 100 million euro transfers. The agents and the clubs, they rule everything. Young players, maybe sometimes they get more upset, maybe sometimes not, but most of the time they don't get what they want. And people have to realize that. I mean, unless you're Mbappe, you can't dictate where you go, basically. I mean, players do what their agents tell them, and that's it.
That's true. No, that is a good point. I think that is important to mention as well. But even still, the timing is just...
Yeah, the timing for sure. You are right on that. You're right on that. And the thing is, I would personally not blame him, even if he was sad, because at the end of the day, he wanted to leave Ukraine for sure, and he wanted to play in the Premier League, and he wanted to play for a better side. And Arsenal are a better side than us. There's no doubt in that now. So
I mean, especially now. A year ago, maybe obviously we were also poor a year ago. I get that, but it was the first poor year that we had. Now it's a bit more extreme than it was back then in terms of the difference between us and Arsenal. But hey, let's not get too hung up on it. Let's move up to Nicholas Jackson, because he scored a nice goal today. That is a good goal. Obviously, it was a great team goal, but I thought it was a good finish. I didn't expect him to shoot, honestly. I
for sure.
To try to square, but he made the keeper a nice goal. Now, does a different keeper save it? Maybe, maybe not. But don't forget that Chelsea were linked to this goalkeeper multiple times from Leeds. First of all, he's terrible, and I hope we never sign him. But still a good goal. The only problem I have is I opened his individual player stats.
Oh, yeah, that should be awful.
Yeah, and you know what it says at the top? Player fact. Nicholas Jackson lost the most duels in the match. Now, I'll ask you, Dimitar, how many duels do you think he did lose? Just as a guess. Just guess.
Let me say 5 or 6.
Yeah, double that. He lost 11 duels.
Wow, okay.
He lost 11 duels. He won, of ground duels, he won 2 out of 13.
I remember there was one situation where he got a scuffed pass on the left, I think, from Mudryk, and then he struck the ball with his head super poorly, and then he spent the next 1.5 minutes complaining for a penalty that someone was holding his shirt. And the thing is, he just made but he made an awful jump for an awful ball, to be fair, but he just spent like 1 minute complaining. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to get yourself booked again. Because he literally spent 1 minute just doing this to the referee and just talking in his face, which is the classic Jackson. But I think he had an overall decent game, and he made a nice finish. I think actually the finish, it's not that easy to save it because he struck the ball really well and really strong, so to say. So the goalkeeper cannot move his feet so fast. So I think he did that great. And I also think he tried to do his signature runs off the left, and that was where he messed up today because they did not work. He was either too slow, or either he how to say it, he thought his dribbling was better, and he just like went directly into players, and the defender just stood their ground and just took the ball off him, which happened 2 or 3 times. Maybe that's where these ground duels come from, because he lost every ball possible.
And obviously we still played some long balls, and then he lost. Had the aerial duels, he won 2 out of 2, but sometimes the ball comes down on the ground first, and then he just lost them. I do agree with what Billy commented here, by the way. He said Jackson ran himself the whole game, for our press, please no slander. Now, no slander. I'm not going to slander him. I'm still not going to give him a crazy high rating, but I do agree with that. Jackson was the only one pressing today because the people
he was
behind him today, Sterling, Mudryk, Mudryk, they don't like pressing. It's not their thing. All of a sudden, instead of Gallagher and Palmer, you've got Mudryk and Mudryk. Yeah, you're not getting much help. So he did do that, and I will give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt for that. In the grand scheme of things, I'll be honest, bro. I think Sterling got a bit too high of a rating here. Even if the stats are giving him a 5 anyway.
Because
was
for Jackson,
really a whole rating better than Mudryk? I'm not sure I agree with that. But regardless, on Jackson, because he scored, I'm going to say 6. Is it too nice? Should I give 5?
I also think 6. And for me, he did what he always does. It just this time his finishing was he had 1 shot, 1 goal on target, and his dribbling from the left was terrible. So he did a reverse to his normal game because normally he makes these great runs, great dribbles, and screws it up later. Now he could not dribble, he could not run with the ball. He pressed and he scored 1 shot, basically 1 clear-cut chance, 1 goal. If he can do that more often,
the other one was that header that you were talking about. That
was but I mean, getting the ball to his feet. Normally, he misses like 3 or 4 chances before he scores a goal. So having 1 clear-cut chance and scoring 1 goal is, I think, an improvement for him on that front. And if he can do that every game, we're gonna win a lot more games than we did in the past 6 months. So so I think 6 should be a fair rating. And I mean, he scored a goal, and if your striker scores a goal, then he done at least something right.
No, I agree. Let me write up the subs quickly. Chilwell came on for Malagusto in the 61st minute, as well as Gallagher coming on for Mudryk in that same minute. And then 13 minutes later, we made another double substitution with Palmer coming on for Sterling and Colwell for Gilchrist, which then meant Chilwell was a left back, Colwell was the left centre back, and Chalobah was playing right back. And then we made a very late last sub for Jimmy Taurianainen. So shout out him, made his debut as he came on for Mykhailo Mudryk at the very end. I'm gonna try to Taurianainen. All right.
That's like a Finnish name?
Yes, he is Finnish.
Yeah.
He is Finnish. So shout out him for his debut. Congratulations. We're not gonna dwell on too long for any of these guys. We're just going to focus on Gallagher, not even a rating, but just focus on him for a second. Like I said in the intro already, bro, you had me there and you chuckled then already. Won us the game against Palace, won us the game today. Yep. Unfortunately, all these chances at Wembley, the one game he really should have won us, he unfortunately didn't do it. But hey, at the end of the day, imagine we didn't win against Palace and imagine we didn't win today. Now, obviously, on the one hand, I could say maybe I'd be happier because Pochettino might be sacked already. But in the grand scheme of things, of me being a Chelsea fan and wanting to win every game, he's helping a lot for that at the moment. You obviously touched on Enzo's run a lot already, but even I thought Gallagher's turn was very good.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Exactly. The way he held off the defender behind him, the way he opened his body up to shoot straight away. Now, does a different goalie save it? Because he essentially smashed it in over the head of the keeper. So there's a bit of luck with that, but he just hit it so hard that it was like difficult to react. Like the only way he would have saved it is if he hit it at the keeper, but he put it high enough. So it's a great goal. So Conor Gallagher, my guy. My guy. I still find it ridiculous that he couldn't finish the game at Wembley, but hey,
have you seen how he runs? I mean,
exactly. After all, maybe he does actually produce lactate.
And also, I think he was the first player who made this trend of like cutting your socks at the back so they don't strain your calves. And I think now the Premier League,
but he's certainly doing it a lot.
He was one of the first ones for sure, because I remember when I saw that, I was like, what is going on? I mean, can they buy him a pair of better socks? What's going on? And then, I first realized it was intentional, but it looks awful.
Just call Nike and tell them I'd rather there was a few holes in the back rather than having to go with scissors and just cutting them open. Like I'm sure Nike would do it for you, bro.
The thing is, a commentator explained it. The thing is, you want the full integrity of the sock, which is made to be like this stretching fabric. Yeah. And then these holes just give you breathing air, and they make it so that like blood is better circulating in your legs. I mean, and a lot of players started doing it, so there must be something to it. And maybe Nike or Adidas or someone else will make such socks in the future. But for the calves of Conor Gallagher, there ain't no socks to hold them. It's insane.
See, but I've never seen Shaqiri do it, and I've never seen anyone with bigger calves than Shaqiri.
Yeah, they just wear tiny socks. I mean, also.
True, he just has
really?
below the socks. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
Below the calf, I guess. Yeah, but the thing is, Ronaldo hasn't started doing it yet. So, and if Ronaldo doesn't do it in terms of when it's physical advantages, I feel like if Ronaldo does it, everyone should be doing it.
That's also true.
But yeah, at the end of the day, hey, if it helps him, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but just on Gallagher, I would like to say I love to see fans online changing their opinion on him, because like in the middle of November, everyone was spamming we should get rid of Sterling and Gallagher. Now they still spam we should get rid of Sterling, but they're starting to realize that Gallagher actually could contribute, and he could also, maybe even if he's not a permanent starting player, he could maybe like play 20-25 games a season and actually contribute to a Chelsea side who is challenging for a title. Because I think
look at today, came off the bench, scored us the winner. Why can't it, like when you have Lavia fit and Enzo at top form and Kunku and Carney, you can still have Gallagher there as the workhorse to bring on late in the game when everybody else gets tired.
Also, people also deserve rest. So it's not like Enzo, Caicedo, or Lavia can play 60 games a season for 90 minutes. No, I mean, and also it's not like they can also get fit for that long, because we know they can't, sadly.
Yeah, no, exactly. So Gallagher, let's not give him a rating. I'll just give him a bloody...
I would give him a 6, because at the end of the day, he played 25 minutes, he scored a winning goal, and he ran his socks off as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
see, I would just, rather than try to... as a sub, what rating does he deserve? Just give him a goal emoji. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Keep it simple, keep it short. And we finish it off with a rating for the manager, Mauricio Pochettino, who I think warrants the lowest rating today again.
Oh, no. I mean, come on.
Who do you think... But, nah, man, like... Think about it.
The thing is,
he does gets second half. He speaks to the players. We come out with 3 times as bad. Every game, this is the case.
This is true.
Beginning first 15 minutes, poor. First 10 minutes of the second half, poor. Extra time, poor. Every time they speak to Poch, they're worse. And then the longer ago they last spoke to Poch, they get better.
This is true, but I think there is this factor. We have certain tactics and we have certain game plan. And the game plan is, if we can punish on, let's say against Liverpool, if we can punish them on counters, if we can punish them with intricate play up front, and then we make those counters, we make those intricate plays up front, we make that perfect final pass, and someone misses 1v1 against the goalkeeper. And that happens 3 times in a game. And then the players have it in their head that they maybe bottled it, and that's why I think the players also become more conservative. Of course, Poch will tell them, guys, if it's the 80th minute, if it's the 75th minute, and we have a result we like, we defend for it. For sure, Poch tells them that. He looks like a manager who prefers safety at the moment. But when the mental state of the players is also like, oof, the coach made the right calls and we scuffed everything again, then they also mentally go 10 yards backwards. And then all of a sudden we're defending with 10 people outside of our box and we concede a stupid goal. I think this is a big problem, and confidence as well as team cohesion, if they don't happen, Poch will not last. If they happen, he may last and he may build something. But if he can't get these players a bit of confidence, if he can't get a bit of team cohesion for more than 15 minutes a game, it's not going to happen for him, sadly.
So, sorry, I had to check another what you said, but I just comment. We don't care about Lemon. He don't care about us. All we care about is Chelsea. That is funny. Good old Poch with his lemons that he loves for the vibes. Yeah. Now, I see what you're saying, Dimitar, right, in terms of the players are the issue. But isn't there a case to be made that it is the manager's job to stop the players from collapsing within themselves? Do you know what I mean? And that's my biggest issue with him. And also, again, we played a championship team today who, yes, we rotated a lot, but they also rotated a little bit. So if we, after, I know 400 million are injured, 200 million haven't played yet because they're 15, but still, we've spent a billion pounds. No, but we've, like, people have a go at it and say, oh, Gary Neville was unfair. We are £1 billion ball jobs.
Oh, no, we are. Yeah, we are.
Who has ever spent £1 billion in his 10th? Do you know what I mean? How do you even achieve that? It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And you can't have 37% possession against Leeds in the second half.
No, you can't. I mean,
And
you
0
are
shots
right.
Counter-attacking at home to a lower league opposition. That can't be the case, man.
You are right. You are right. And people are mostly right. But the thing is, you can't expect this young team who basically met each other less than 18 months ago to play any better. And yeah, maybe Klopp could get a little bit more out of them, but I don't think any manager could get us in the top 4 with this team this season. I don't think that's possible.
Of course they couldn't.
And
Absolutely
the thing
not.
is, I think Poch, the main job Poch has to do is he has to find a way to win games and play better. In my opinion, he is trying to do different things. He's trying to tweak stuff in the tactics. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we lose to Liverpool 4-1. Sometimes we play Aston Villa off the park and we say, well, we don't know what's going on because one game we lose, one game we win. The thing is, I am glad he's trying some stuff. I just hope he can figure it out because at the end of the day, that is what's going to decide if he stays or not, or if we are going to be successful anytime soon. Because even if he goes, if he succeeds in creating some sort of a spine, some sort of a style, some sort of defined clear roles for the players in the team, maybe another manager can build on top of that. But
yeah, no, absolutely. I do think that
we have to do
foundations have kind of been. Honestly, I said this for Potter last year, and I still think in hindsight it would have been better if we just kept Potter for this period.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We needed a scapegoat because with the whole transition at the club, no one, not Pep Guardiola, not Jurgen Klopp, not Jose Mourinho, not fucking Johan Cruyff himself, would have managed to be great with this in this Chelsea scenario over the last 18 to 24 months. No one. Absolutely no one. The problem is we made it worse by sacking Potter first and then throwing Poch in when we were still in the middle of this transition. But my issue with Poch is I don't see progress. Now, we touched on it earlier that things are getting better in the sense that players are starting to build connections with each other. But I don't see... I didn't add against Liverpool on the first day of the season. And I still don't now see attacking patterns. Everything we do seems to be instinctual from the players. And I just don't think that's I don't think that's good enough. I just think you need to do more.
It's not.
Exactly.
In my opinion,
out the back, we make mistakes so often at it. Surely we have to become a bit better at it. But sorry, what were you trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, we are starting to see some kind of patterns. I mean, not it's not good enough, and that is true, and that is why Poch deserves criticism. And if he gets sacked, it will be justified. But if he manages to ride out the season, I would give him a chance for the next season. But yeah, he has to build a foundation and he has to do it better because we need a foundation, we need some patterns, and we need some clearly defined roles. Because I think up until now in the season, the only clearly defined roles in the team is Cole Palmer is basically the most creative player, and maybe Gallagher is the player who runs the most. Yeah. Everything else, I'm not sure Caicedo and Enzo have clearly defined roles. I mean, it can happen very well. The next manager comes in next season and he wants them to play completely differently. But I think if no matter who is the manager next season, Cole Palmer will be used as the creative focal point of the team. So I think that is set in stone now. And I think that Gallagher is the runner of the team who will run his socks off. I think that is also set in stone. So if we get...
I think as roles of players, I think you're right. But I think now you see players here, like people here, the Chelsea boys saying we're 11th because the players are bang average. Sure. But my issue is we've now decided, okay, we're going to bank on the young players. But what does our manager do? Every game we play Sterling over Mudryk, even though Sterling 95% of the time doesn't do anything. Like, doesn't help the team, doesn't lead the team, isn't a leader. Like, if he's not going to, even if he scores a couple of goals, if he doesn't benefit the grand scheme of the team, surely it would be better to play the young guy to get better rather than to permanently play Sterling. And this is only one of many examples. Everybody knew that Levi Colwill is a phenomenal centre-back that has great playing out abilities that can help us beat the press and play and attack better. But what did he do for the first 6 months of the season? Play him left-back instead of a youngster at left-back. Also, even today, why is Alfie Gilchrist playing at left-back? Even in the under-21s, he wouldn't play left-back over the under-21s left-back. So why isn't the under-21s left-back playing left-back then? Why does it have to be a centre-back that played right-back for the last 3 months and is now playing left-back? Where is the logic in that? Like, this to me, constantly playing players out of position everywhere isn't going to let these players get better, and we don't have infinite amount of time to get these players better. Mudryk is now already 23. By the time Chelsea have figured itself out, he's going to be 25 and the opposite of young.
Mudryk is the same age as Callum Hudson-Odoi, and they're born in the same month. So let that sink in.
Exactly. And Callum Hudson-Odoi was playing for Chelsea at 17, while Mykhailo Mudryk didn't even know what a football stadium looked like. Because by then, he didn't even play in the Ukrainian top league by then. Whether that's to do with his ability or anything else, who cares? That's not the problem.
He was too busy getting neck tattoos at that point.
Yeah, and making dodgy videos with rap songs where he's saying words he shouldn't say. But yeah, did you give a rating for what? Should you say 5? Did I?
I just want to say one last thing. People say we're 11th because the players are bang average. Some of them probably are, and we will probably discover that some player for £100 million sucks. But the thing is, Sean Dyche finished 7th with Burnley a couple of years ago, and those players were not better than 16th. So if a manager can make a squad play together, if a manager can bring team cohesion and confidence, you can get wonders. So I think I'm hoping for that, and I'm gonna give Poch a 5.5 because I think his tactics were okay. And even though we considered the goal in the 8th minute due to a horrendous error, the team managed to pull it back. Then we gave it away, but we managed to win it again at the end. So I think 5.5 should be fair for Poch, I guess.
You say 5.5?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3.
Wow.
But I know that's a bit extra harsh, not purely on the basis of today, more of a collective of what I think of him. So because of that, I'm going to at least give it, because that would be between 4 and 4.5. I'm going to say give it the 4.5 overall. But for me, like, I understand what you're saying and I hear what you're saying, but I don't fully agree that we could just let him off.
Oh, no, you're right. We can't. And like I said, if he gets sacked, it will be justified.
Yeah.
There's no argument against
that. Like this to me, and then a second half like this happening, and he sits there, arms crossed on the bench. No, there needs to be more, man. You know what I mean? Like that's like why if people have a go at Sterling. We're not doing well, and you see him standing around doing nothing. That's why people are upset with him. I get it. And the manager needs to do more as well. But hey,
the thing is, Sarri was very animated to when people hated him as well. So
yeah, it's true. But they hated him because of Jorginho and 4-3-3 and Barkley and Kovacic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're not even wrong. You're not even wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, though, I think it's about time. Actually, I didn't close it yet. My bad. We need to finish Sterling's rating. So far, 63% voted for a 5, 36% voted for a 5.5. So a 5 it shall be, I suppose. But yeah, not much more that needs to be said. Brentford on Saturday. Unfortunately, I'm celebrating my dad's birthday, so I won't be able to stream. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to watch the game. I'll catch it in hindsight. But ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe if you haven't already. That would be massively appreciated. Again, shout out to Lewis for sending you guys over here. Hit that like button on your way out. That would be massively appreciated. It really helps me spread these streams out to more people. So just click that like button on your way out. That would be massively appreciated. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Shout out Dimitar. I ruined my own outro. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chels, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.